You can go 2 years, 3 years seeing no results, and that fourth year is when you're gonna see them. So it's important to have patience, maintaining gentleness, whether things go great or whether things go bad. And ironically, this actually makes it a lot easier to be consistent and to get yourself to do things. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of the I Am podcast. Today we're going to be talking about something that's been trending a little bit. It's called soft productivity. And I'm also going to combine this with the topic of showing up for yourself, because I don't know about y'all, but consistency is hard sometimes. Like, I have a really hard time showing up, and I think that soft productivity might be an answer to some of our problems when it comes to this dilemma. Here's the truth of the matter. Most of the YouTubers that we know and love, like Jackie Aina, May, these people were making videos for years, y'all, before they truly blew up and became big and huge successes. And whether your goal is to have a few thousand followers, to have 100,000 followers, or just for content creation to become your full-time job, or anything creative for that matter, it's going to take a lot of time. And I think we all know this, but sometimes, like in the day to day, it can be really hard to carry that out and commit to the vision. So if you've started something and you're hoping to see results in 6 months, and you might, but also just remember that like you can go 2 years, 3 years seeing no results, and that fourth year is when you're gonna see them. So it's important to have patience. But patience obviously takes a lot of time, and if you're being super harsh every step of the way and just going all in, going so hard, just hustle, it's going to be pretty difficult to sustain whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. And that is where soft productivity comes in. Another amazing YouTuber, Heinz, I listen to his videos all of the time, just discussed this topic about a week ago. Definitely go check out that video because it was amazing. But essentially, it's being productive while giving yourself grace. It's actually funny when you look up soft productivity, one of the first definitions is optimizing both human interaction and activities. And I think when it comes to your personal goals and things that you have to do, the human interaction side of that soft productivity looks like interacting with yourself and what you need and what you're accomplishing. And ironically, this actually makes it a lot easier to be consistent and to get yourself to do things. So instead of being super harsh and being like, I need to do this by this date, that time, by this time it needs to happen, you're a little bit more like, okay, how are we feeling today? What's on the to-do list? What can I do? What can I not do? What needs to be moved? What do I actually need? I talked about in a previous video, paying attention not only to what it is that you want to do, but also what you need in that specific moment. And soft productivity is what really makes the space for that. And it also kind of plays into that weird psychology thing where it's like, if your mom told you to wash the dishes, you don't want to wash the dishes as much anymore. So in that same sense, like when you're being very harsh with yourself, it makes it a lot more difficult to really come into whatever it is you're doing with the same amount of joy and excitement for the activity. But when you have that soft productivity and you're kind of letting yourself free flow a little bit more, that's when you're like, hey, I kind of really want to do this. And I found that having that grace has allowed me to actually be more consistent than I have ever been in my creative journey because I'm flexible. Honestly, I think a lot of what allows the space to do that is having trust in your capabilities and having trust that everything will work out in the end. Ultimately, when you have a goal in mind, right? Like the pressure can really be on you that like you need to do everything perfectly for that goal to find success or for success to even like be a part of the picture. When in reality, it really is about doing your best. I think there are some things in life like, you know, if you're working to put food on the table, for example, like that is going to be a little bit higher stress. And for that, like, yeah, do your best, but like you also need to make sure you're showing up. But when it comes to things that are really coming from inside of you, from who you're made to be as a person, your passions, your talents, do your best and be flexible and allow yourself to flow. And that is really what soft productivity makes the space for doing. My teacher said something really interesting today in class, and he was saying there's already so many rules in the world. Don't ask people for more rules to impose onto you. And he was speaking about how we always want, a rubric or things like that. Like, don't ask people to add more rules onto the rules in life that are already there. And I think similarly, as you're pursuing whatever your journey is, don't create more rules than you need. It's okay if you need to be a little bit more flexible with yourself, a little more soft and gentle with yourself. And doing that will actually allow whatever your gift is to flow a lot more naturally. And you'll just find that you enjoy everything a lot better and that you don't feel under as much stress. A lot of people speak to how when whatever your passion is becomes your full-time career, it can end up kind of sucking a lot of the joy out of it. And I think a lot of that is because when it's what you're relying on, it's kind of hard to just let it flow as naturally because you're stressed, you're thinking about it, you're being harsh with yourself. You end up falling into that hard productivity. And there's a time and a space for that. There's a time and a space for being super duper regimented. But I think on the day to day, it's important, like I said, to be able to breathe, to be able to slow down, and to take each day as it comes. So, what does this look like in real life? This looks like telling yourself that it doesn't need to work out at exactly the time that you think it will. It looks like if you need to skip a day, you need to skip a day. But it also looks like being okay with filming or doing the activity even if all of the conditions aren't perfect. For example, my camera broke yesterday and I was really disappointed, but it was actually interesting because I found that I wasn't as upset as I would have expected myself to be. And I think a lot of that is because when you're a little more gentle, you can allow things to just flow. So just let it flow. Things worked out. One of my really good friends, who we will see on the podcast next week, actually let me borrow her camera. And that's what we're shooting on right now. And I actually love it. I'm going to need a new camera too, so we'll see. But it worked out. It worked out. And part of that is just telling yourself it'll work out and it'll be okay. The second is to not negative self-talk. It is so easy to talk ourselves down into a literal pit that we can actually get stuck in, y'all. And it makes it a lot harder to be productive, to be successful, all of those things in our day-to-day life. Talking down on yourself, it's like clipping your own wings, to be honest. And when you have that really harsh productivity all of the time, every time you mess up becomes an opportunity to talk down to yourself, to clip those wings, to minimize your own ability really to carry out what the things are that you want to do. And so it's super important to at least kind of stay neutral with where you're at, and not to let yourself get into a super negative headspace about whatever it is that you're doing, because like I said, that will really hold you back so much. If every time that you slip up, it becomes a big personal problem and attacks your own identity and things like that. And so in that sense, like I said, there are spaces for that more harsh productivity where you just gotta put your head down and grind every day and can't miss a beat. But if you know that you kind of tend to slip into more of a negative headspace, then maybe adopting being more gentle with yourself and having more grace with yourself all the time and not even letting yourself get into that super harsh regimented space can be good. And that's what I've honestly had to do, because I tend to be the person where when things start to slip up, I just stop everything completely. Okay, we're just not going to do this at all type of thing. But being more soft and gentle has made it if we miss a week or two, it's not a problem. We're going to be back on that thing quick. But the reason that that's able to happen is because there is more grace. And I think honestly, y'all, when it comes specifically to creating and things that really stem from a place of passion, not a place of oh, I need food on the table, remember it's supposed to be fun. The reason that I'm recording and speaking with y'all and sharing is because, yes, it's impactful and it's a positive thing. And I super enjoy that. But also, it's really fun. Like, I enjoy setting up the lights and the audio and testing the audio and fixing the settings on the camera and editing after and all. And this is so fun for me, and like that's why I'm doing it. So when you turn it into like a super regimented, like you got to do it at this time, this time, this time, if you mess up here, shame on myself, like that's not fun. It like takes away the purpose of it in the first place. Like, you don't need that. You don't need that. But yeah, just remember, like, soft productivity, like I said, it doesn't mean you don't have a schedule. It doesn't mean that you don't have a to-do list. It doesn't mean that you don't have deadlines. It just means that when something goes awry, the response is not harsh, it's soft. And that's what the root of it is, maintaining gentleness, whether things go great or whether things go bad. So keep that in mind, I think, as you're continuing to create, because if you're doing anything like this and you want it to go somewhere, it's going to be for the long haul. And like I said, you can't sustain a healthy attitude and a healthy like internal state doing this type of stuff if you're super harsh with yourself every time you mess up. It's just not going to be sustainable, because even when you are successful, you're going to have losses. They're just going to be more drastic. And what are you going to do in those moments? Like, practice being gentle with yourself today, and it will definitely pay off in the future. And when it comes to like showing up for yourself, yes, be gentle, but like if you're not going to show up, no one else will. So it is really important at the same time, like, yes, be gentle, but also understand like the urgency in being consistent and making high quality content and doing your best and putting your best foot forward every step of the way, because that's what's going to end up making progression, making growth. It's a journey, yes, but also if you're not doing anything, like the journey is paused. It's not going anywhere. So make sure that, yes, like be gentle, of course, but that doesn't mean that you can just let everything fly to the wind. So it's like, be gentle, be disciplined. It's a balance, but you can definitely do it. I know that you can. And it might not be perfect at first, but it will be so worth it when you see the results 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line. And you'll look back and you'll remember where you started, and you'll have this beautiful journey to look back on. And I think that's something really cool to think about, whether you end up doing something completely different or whether all of your dreams come true. You'll be able to remember the effort and the love that you put into pursuing your passion, and that's worth more than money can buy. Yeah, y'all, remember to be gentle with yourself, be patient with yourself, and stay disciplined. I'm excited to see all that you accomplish. 2023 is almost halfway over, which is insane. Literally mind blown. But take advantage of the rest of the year. Use soft productivity. See how that can impact and shift your process. And you've got this. I know you do. But yeah, y'all, I hope that this video was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of the different video layout. I'm honestly assuming it's going to be better quality, so I am excited for that. Excited to see what changes are going to be happening with this channel now that my camera is broken. So we're going to be revamping the whole setup. But yeah, thank y'all again for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you learned anything new or if you have any thoughts about what you heard in this video. Stay blessed, and I will see y'all next week. Bye.